everywhere burst few hours ago as Nigeria is boiling at the moment. Tinubu cried few hours ago because he never expected what happened. Two of the judges in the Supreme Court finally poofed few hours ago. They poofed the same time. They lost their life the same time. Nobody ever see this coming. You know, in course of the election, according to report, a lot of people were saying that Tinubu wasn't the winner of the election. But when they carried the matter to the Supreme Court judges have found the legitimacy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. 5 of the Supreme Court judges have found the legitimacy of Tinubu, and they said Tinubu is the winner of the election amidst all the evidences that will be provided and all of that. They said Obi did not win the election, that Tinubu actually won the election. Now, 2 of the judges finally poofed the same time, the same day, and you will hear the last word they said and how they poof. You will hear everything in this very video. Nigeria shocked. Nigeria is scattering at the moment. Nobody ever expected it, because Nigeria came out after the election to curse of these people. They curse all of them, they swear for them and do all of that. They never expected that the curses will work. Now, come and see what happened. Just stay connected. If you can share the video, just share the video, and if you can share it, just like it as you're watching. Like it, give it a thumb up. I'll come back to play you the video.
Welcome you back to LAJUPOG Watch TV.
I don't have bad news for you today.
The home of religious gossip.
But you should leave the fight for Mohammed.
What is happening in the Christendom? Join now to make sense with LAJUPOG.
Hello my great and wonderful viewers, welcome back to LAJUPOG Watch TV. For those of you coming across this channel for the very first time, just endeavor to click the red subscription button appearing on your video screen, and at the same time click the notification bell icon so that whenever we drop our new video in few hours time, YouTube will easily let it know. Kasala burst few hours ago. Even Nigerians did not expect what happened few hours ago. Tinubu have been in pain and panic. You know, Tinubu traveled to Saudi Arabia before for a summit, but he came back to meet a bad news, and nobody ever expected what happened to the judges of the Supreme Court. You know, in course of the election, 5 of the judges of the Supreme Court, they stood in court to affirm the legitimacy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They said Tinubu is actually the winner of the election, even when Obi provided dozens of evidences against Bola Ahmed Tinubu and not side with ATIKU. A lot of people were saying that it was Peter Obi that actually won the 2023 election, but a lot of people were thinking that they should take the matter to court with the evidences that will be provided, that Obi were actually won in court. But the worst came to happen. They did not even allow Obi to talk in court and all of that. Even the lawyers of Obi, all the petition that they filed against APC Bola Ahmed Tinubu, everything was trashed by the Supreme Court judges, even to the extent that they were even blaming Peter Obi because of the ruling and all of that. They said Obi is allying a social media uproar against the verdict and all of that. That was what they said. Now they turned all the cases against Peter Obi. Now Nigerians weren't happy with all these things that the court did in course of the 2023 election, because they are actually looking forward for the fact that justice will stand. But the other side happened. Now, after they have found the legitimacy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Supreme Court, Nigerians were saying that the Supreme Court is not the last hope of the common man. Now, a lot of Nigerians bust out the street. They carry juju to different junctions. They carry sham, they carry voodoos, they carry all of that. They swear for the judges of the Supreme Court, they swear for INEC, they swear for different people that messed Tinubu to get into power, even when they don't even know that Tinubu is going to put them in hardship, poverty and hardship and all of that. But they carry their juju out. They go to River Goddess, they swear for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they swear for the 5 judges of the Supreme Court, they swear for all of them. Now, the 5 judges of the Supreme Court, 2 of them finally poof the same day, according to report. They said 2 of them finally lost their life few hours ago. You will hear everything in this video. I'm going to play you the full video. You will see the way they poof. You will hear everything that they said in course of this video. Inside their room, they poof inside their room. According to this video, you will hear everything yourself. So I'd like guys to stay connected to the end of this video. If you can share the video, just do well to share it. Share it on different social media platforms. Let it go viral. And if you can share it, just like it, give it a thumb up so that it will be recommended for us. You know, according to everything that has been happening in Nigeria, Nigerians weren't happy with the verdict, the ruling, and the directive that the court gives. A lot of people are now saying that the court and judiciary is not the last hope of the common man, that juju and sham is the last last hope of the common man. God is the last hope of the common man, because the judiciary have been hijacked by the political class and all of that, and it is what they want the judge to say regarding a particular case. That's what the judge will say. You can see obviously what happened in the course of the 2023 election and all of that. That's what a lot of Nigerians are saying. They said, if you like, take your matter to the court, because in course of the election, a lot of people were saying that Obi should not waste his precious time and his money to take Tinubu to court and all of that, because they believe that Tinubu actually owned the court of Nigeria. He owned the judiciary. He have put them in their pocket and all of that. And you can see everything that played out. Obi was saying that he have received justice from the Supreme Court before, when he was still the former governor of Anambra State, but he was still thinking that the same Supreme Court of then is still the Supreme Court that we have now. Now everywhere pause. Nigerians scatter when the Supreme Court put the hope of Obi and they dash it into the bush. And a lot of people actually wanted to come out to protest, but Obi said nobody should protest and all of that. And I said that's not enough. Nigerians came out in their thousands. They carry juju, they carry voodoo. I played you the video on this same platform. They carry different juju to different shrine. A lot of herbalists came out. They swear for Tinubu, they swear for the Supreme Court judges, they swear for INEC, they swear for Wiki, they swear for all of that. They said that if they like, they should pay the Supreme Court and all of that. They should pay the judiciary and all of that from the tribunal and all of that. They said they will not live to see the good of all the things that they're working for. You saw the video in this very platform. I don't need to be telling you this again now. I want to play you a video now of how the Supreme Court judges actually lost their life. Two of them, a man and a woman, out of the 5 judges. And a lot of Nigerians have been in panic because they never expected that maybe their juju and their swear can actually come through this fast, because the swear is actually working fast and God is already in action very fast. You hear what the judges said when they actually wanted to give up and all of that. They lost their life few hours ago inside their room. You hear everything yourself. I would like us to stay connected to the end of the video. If you can share it, just share it. If you can't share it, just like it. Just stay connected. Listen to what he said in the radio. You will hear everything for yourself. Just stay connected. I'm coming back again.
It don't start, my people. The 2 judges will bring Tinubu to power. The 2 judges women and Nigerians they suffer. The 2 judges they don't buy. You see but I know you already know that one. What I'm here to do is to expose what you don't know. I want to expose what you don't know about these 2 judges that buy. Tinubu, I will expose what you did. If this is the last video I will do before they arrest me or before I buy, I will do it, but I must expose what Tinubu did. I will expose this thing that Tinubu did. Yes, it is fear that keeps us in perpetual bondage, and I will not allow my life to be controlled by fear. I will post evidence when I will see am. Enough is enough. Oh, get ready. I'm posting it as a picture now. You will look at the picture below. You will see that Tinubu have consoled the family of the judges. He has consoled their families. He told them to take heart, that God gives and God takes. Oh, Mr. President, you have done well. Out of your busy schedule, you make out time to grieve with the family, to feel the pains of the family. You have done well and have exposed your good deed. Thank you. Kudos to you. It's not every day I will be attacking you. You have done well, my able president.
And when you ask the government in retrospect as to the fact that what you had said during your campaign, what you had disclosed to us during your campaign is different from what we're experiencing now. Economists will give you statistics as to how Nigeria's inflation has always progressed, and the only time it reduced was during a certain administration. But others will tell you that there is something ongoing. It's almost like a certain people, a certain set of persons do not want this country to move forward. But why would you not want your home country to move forward? When you have your thriving population traveling out en masse, who will remain to develop the country? Is it the old and aged who literally are in their pension stage and just want to relax? Who will now help us grow? If the country's treasury has been looted by certain persons, what is now left for our generation yet unborn to build on? Don't we have a country that has more than 774 ethnic groups, a population of more than 220 million. And up till now, we are still in a retrogressive method of thinking where tribe, where religion, where political differences is the order of the day, rather than having to discuss on issues that will propel us and move us forward. Other countries are looking at technology, looking at how to improve their school system, but Nigeria is not focusing on that. The president recently traveled out of the country, and his focus was on basically the ceasefire, all right, between Israel and Palestine. Meanwhile, here in the country, we are not done with our own insecurity. Did you hear about a particular group called Lakurawa? They just recently killed about 15 persons. They've also imposed tax within the communities, and they're inducing some of the young persons there with 1 million naira. That is what this group is doing. The DHQ told us like this group is new, possibly just because of the rift they actually had in earlier 2023 when the president was just inaugurated and was made the ECOWAS chair, that was why this group formed. But we are hearing that this group have been in existence since 2017 and 2018, and there have been different angles through which stories as to how this group formed. So it's obvious that the SSS, the DHQ, already knew about this group because their modus operandi is exactly like Boko Haram. So when we consider all of this rhetorics, when we look at all of this conversation, the poignant question to ask is, at what point, at what instance are we going to tell ourselves the truth that there are certain issues that are meant to be discussed and dealt with, and that if the country intends to move forward, some of these issues which has to do with the agitation, all right, of the Biafrans, the continued incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu, the insecurity in the country, if this resolve is not met, we can't move forward. It's not about making derogatory comments about anybody, all right. Now, when he was talking in that particular podcast about activism, he talked about the fact that they asked him a question, and they asked him, said, Omoyele Sowore, tell us something. You have always put yourself out there. How do you feel when people don't also encourage you in your cause? And he says that activism is a thankless effort. You don't expect anyone to thank you afterwards, because once that is the case, you'll definitely be disappointed. If you're fighting this cause, be ready for anything, just be ready for it. And then he also asked him, all right, they mentioned the former labor chief, or the former labor head, Adams Oshiomhole, and he had quite a lot to say about Adams Oshiomhole, because I remember at the time before he was the governor of Edo State, he had the nation at his thumb. If there is supposed to be a shutdown and Adams Oshiomhole announces it, you hear the government literally quiver. But there are some revelations that Sowore made about that, which I also want us to listen to. So kindly, briefly, take a listen to what he had to say about this.
You can go and check this out anyway. And I will send you, after this show, a press conference we did in 1992 or so, where Oshiomhole and a guy named Pascal Bafia, he was a former NLC president, had a deal with Babangida to increase fuel price and supported it.
In 1992?
Yes, I did a press conference where we named him as the enemy of students. What? Because of what he did when they first started this whole fuel increase. Oshiomhole was part of it. Oshiomhole was never part of the pro-democracy movement. He was one of the few labor leaders during Abacha's time who was living in Abuja, when all the activists had run away from this country. And I've said this several times. What Oshiomhole was doing at the period you are describing is what we call organized outrage. You go and meet Obasanjo, Baba, increase the fuel price, we will fight small. You will come put them back to the place where it's supposed to be. You are happy, I'm happy. That was what Oshiomhole was doing. And I've said this openly, but since you have greater reach, he can challenge me that I said, and I will send you a copy of the press release and press conference, not even press.
The conference itself.
We sat at the press conference, invited the press, because that's how we communicated during our days. We did a lot of world press conferences, and we went after them. In fact, when Abiola's election was annulled, part of the places the students invaded was the NLC secretariat at Yaba. because they were in bed with the military, Pascal Bafiao, and Oshiomhole. Them, they were the labor leader. Yeah, he didn't start today. This Oshiomhole you are saying, he has been doing labor leadership for a long time. So they were the part of the labor movement that sold out. Kokori, who was in Pengassan, and
Frank Kokori.
yes, they were the original people in labor who really shut down the country, and they were arrested and kept in detention. Look, I think Kokori was released after Abacha died. Ask why nobody arrested and detained Oshiomhole. Even small me at that time, I was going in and out of detention, including by DSS. If they detained him, it must have been an arranged detention.
But then you get one video when they tear gas ammo under Obasanjo.
And that's why I say organized outrage now. You can arrange police to tear gas.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
They can arrange police to tear gas you now. But that was under. We are talking about serious fight against military.
So
now.
the one you just said now that is scattering my head now, because I'm now trying to marry it, because think.
So we have activists for a reason.
Activists for a season. For a season.
Yes.
Activists for a reason and activists for a season.
You mentioned earlier that he was the most prominent. He wasn't. The most prominent labor leader in Nigeria is Imodu.
Michael Imodu.
And he was one of the people first in Nigeria's history to be restricted to a city by the colonial masters. Auchi. The second person to be restricted to a city was Obafemi Awolowo. Lekki. Not this Lekki where you people are. There's still a real Lekki after Dangote refinery. That's where the real Lekki is not. It's a real Lekki town. Is after Dangote refinery.
Not the first one here.
Not the faces you have here. And then the third person, of course, was myself in 2019 when I was restricted to Abuja for 3 years. So when you are talking about real labor leaders, don't mention Oshiomhole.
What of Joe Ajero?
It is a secret in our within our circles that everybody knows Oshiomhole. You know, to be a Agaracha labor leader.
What of this Joe Ajero now?
Well, Joe Ajero, as far as I have seen, doesn't seem to have a problem with the government. I think it's the problem. The government that even have a problem with his little activism. You know, and I've told him that he needs to. We need to know who is after who, because how can you be labor leader in this period and the government is comfortable with you? You understand? You can't even do a strike for more than 1 day. I attended one of their strike. It was supposed to be for 2 days. The middle of the first day, they have disappeared on us. The second day, they didn't even bother to tell us. And so since that time, I have respected myself, you know. So because...
Well, that was still Omoyele Sowore, like I told you in the recent podcast. I'm sure you heard their names. You could hear some of their input in the questions they were asking concerning one-time APC chairman, who obviously, like you heard them say, was one person that was the NLC, chief at the time, and that at the time they knew him, it was basically an activism of personal gain. Like I said, he said quite a lot in there that if we want to consider it, we'll be shocked. I was gobsmacked as well when I particularly heard that story. I heard that particular information because I wondered what was the truth behind it, and is it possible that all of the outrage that was ongoing in the country at the time when the government decides to say, you know what, we're increasing petrol. So you want to tell me that somehow there is a secret conversation that takes place and say, you know what, we're going to do jiggy jiggy now, but later you will have to compensate and then we'll come back. It's just a way of showing that we're indeed serious. I was surprised. I'm just hearing this for the very, very first time. But these are the conversations we're talking about. Rather than having to focus, or rather having to deal with most of these issues bedeviling us, we have a lot of these things come up. And who are the persons that we can trust that represents the interest of Nigerians in the long run? If some persons can be bought over, if some persons have certain personal gains in some activities they get themselves involved in, then what do we do in regards to ensuring that things work out for Nigerians? What do we do in regards to the fact that if we want things to work as best as we've expected to, then more needs to be done to actually propagate that? And for that to take place, obviously sacrifices needs to be made. That's just the truth. Sacrifices needs to be made in that regard. But who is ready to sacrifice? Nigerians are at a point where if you try to agitate, if you say you want to organize a protest, problem. If you say you talk like this, DSS fit come your house, can't carry you go. If you make any statement that seems to be in contrast with what is expected of you, there is a possibility that you could be tracked down. So when you stifle people like this and they can no longer express themselves, it becomes a problem. They no longer know what to do. All right, there is a fear in their gut to actually feel free to make certain statements, to even critique the government. And when you're in government, obviously you should expect criticism from the people you govern. That's why they put you there. If you're in government and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you're not giving accountability, or you're not giving further explanations, obviously you should expect criticism. So should you be afraid of criticism? Should anyone actually be afraid of criticism? That's a big question. All right, now here again is also a situation that I want us to consider, because the Nigerian judiciary has been the focal point lately. The question has been on the fact that our judiciary, do they represent the interest of Nigerians, or they represent the interest of those who appointed them? Others will say that the judiciary are not meant to be appointed. There's a process through which there will I say objectivity to nominations, or objectivity to the placement of some of these justices, so that we can hold them accountable if certain cases are not properly resolved. All right, now, because of what is going on within the judiciary, we know that the new Justice Kekereokun had to set up an internal review of some cases, and one of them is the case in Rivers. And people were asking questions that what will be the real outcome of that investigation? Are we going to get a real outcome, or we're just going to get just a little report of what people are saying that is they are expected to hear, or what Nigerians are expected to hear? Are we going to see them go really deep into these cases and then flush out those who have not been doing well? Well, because of that, there is tension in the NJC, right? Because they're set to convene meetings to look into allegations of judicial misconduct leveled against some judicial officers. The meeting will be at the NJC's last in the year, but the first quarterly session to be presided by the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. The session is expected to address the recommendations of several NJC committees investigating 55 petitions lodged against judges across the country. And we know that the NJC is empowered by the 1999 Constitution to appoint, promote, and discipline judges. And there have been concerns following recent statements by the new CJN that errant judges will face severe consequences. Between May and August 2024, no fewer than 22 petitions were filed against 27 judges, 7 in both the federal and state high courts. But Nigerians do not believe in the process. They still have this doubt as to the authenticity of that process. There is still that doubt in motion. Nigerians don't trust that process. They feel already there is something on ground that doesn't literally call for, doesn't stipulate objectivity in how the outcome would go, but it will behold Justice Kekereokun to prove to us that indeed her tenure would do the needful concerning these concerns, all right, these petitions written against the NJC and concerning some court rulings recently being disclosed. Specifically, we know that of Rivers. It will do her well if she does that, and then there should be punitive measures meted on those justices who have actually balkanized the judicial system and put it in the state of distrust that a lot of Nigerians have towards it. Meanwhile, the NJC as well and the Court of Appeal recently denied reports of the mysterious death of two of the justices who upheld the election of President Bola Tinubu in 2023. According to the NJC and the Court of Appeal, these claims that are being that's in circulation across social media are false and misleading. Now, the rumors suggest that two of the 5 justices on the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, Justice Mistura Bolaji Yusuf and Justice Bolukoromo Moses Ugo, died under suspicious circumstances. Social media posts claim that Justice Bolaji Yusuf was found dead just as after appearing to be in good health. Another rumor stated that Justice Ugo allegedly passed away following strange noises from his room, with family members reportedly finding him bleeding and unresponsive. However, the NJC, in a statement by its secretary Ahmed Gambo Saleh, labeled the report as false. He said, "Please ignore the news. It's not true. The justices are alive, well, and doing their jobs." Additionally, a senior official from the Court of the rumors, the official described them as the work of mischief makers and said that the justices were in good health. Now, you will recall that the panel of judges which upheld the election results of February 25, 2023, which declared President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC the legitimate winner, while the tribunal actually dismissed petitions from the opposition People's Democratic Party and that of Labour Party, who had it don't happen. Shebi we talk am say una put this person we get plenty comma God don't dey judge you. It don't happen. So imagine a country where this kind of story circulated, people were jubilating, people were celebrating. What does that tell you? You know, I think it's a big question for the NJC to answer, to respond to. It's a big question for some of the elites to respond to, because the final arbiter of the common man, which is the judiciary, the third estate of the realm. You have the executive, you have the legislature, and then you have the judiciary. All right, the third estate of the realm, they literally are supposed to be blind in the dispensation of justice. Not that justice prevails on those that benefits, you know, from the system, and doesn't prevail on those who do not have the link or political, would I say, influence to whatever judgment comes out from that. But Nigerians were jubilating. I saw the story on social media as well, I think 2 or 3 days ago, and I was shocked as to how a lot of persons tagged that particular story. And you would wonder, in this country, has it gotten to this, that Nigerians were happy, Nigerians were jubilating about that particular story? I mean, what does that tell you? Okay, so let me hear from you based on what I have been able to stipulate here.
Thank you for staying connected, my great and wonderful viewers. You can hear what Nigerians said. You know, Nigerians will actually find it difficult to just come out to say what they did not know, or what they did not hear, or what they did not see. You know, a lot of things is actually happening in Nigeria. A lot of media people will always come out from the cabinet or the president and always give false news regarding a lot of things and all of that. Now, regarding the death of Lagbaja, the chief of army staff, and all of that, a lot of Nigerians actually circulated it before the government even announced it. They said Lagbaja is no more alive. They said Lagbaja is proof that Lagbaja finally lost his life and all of that. But the government actually came and they said that is not true. That what happened to Lagbaja is the fact that Lagbaja traveled for a vacation, and he went for a vacation, and after the vacation that he's coming back to Nigeria. Even the soldiers, the armies of Nigeria, they came out to make the speech that nothing happened to Lagbaja, that is good and is okay. But Nigerians have already circulated that this person have proved, that this person have have kicked the bucket. He's no more alive, but they said Lagbaja is alive. Now, after a few days that they said that Lagbaja traveled for a vacation and all of that, they came out with the news again that Lagbaja is sick, that is terribly sick with some illnesses and all of that. And I said that it's not enough, that he's taking treatment outside over there and all of that. And after a few weeks again, they came out to tell us again that the chief of army staff is terribly sick again, and he finally kicked the bucket and all of that. Now, all these things are coming from the same government that said that nothing happened to Lagbaja, that he went on a vacation. Now, the same thing is coming out from the judges of the Supreme Court again. They finally buried Lagbaja a few days ago, and everywhere buzz, stadium full, everywhere buzz when they buried Lagbaja, the chief of army staff. Even before they announced the death of Lagbaja, the chief of army staff in Nigeria, they already put another chief of army staff to be operating in the office of Lagbaja. It was few days after that they announced the poof or the kicking of bucket of Lagbaja. Now, the same thing is happening in the case of the two judges of the Supreme Court. You can see the government or the judiciary actually coming out to say that nothing happened to the Supreme Court judges and all of that, that they are all doing fine, they are doing well, they are doing great and all of that. Now, in a few days again, you will hear another story. Maybe they traveled out of Nigeria to take treatment due to some brief illness. Then from there, you will hear another thing again, because as far as Nigeria is concerned, I don't know the reason why when something happened to some notable or public officers, they will find it difficult to unveil the news with immediate effect, but they will still be hiding it. I don't really know why they're actually hiding news and all of that, just because they don't want Nigerians to know what is going on due to their own interest. And a lot of all these government officials, they be gaslighting Nigerians, but Nigerians are smart enough to actually know the truth of the matter. That's what is happening. Now, a lot of Nigerians are coming out, they are saying that they are sure of the fact that these two judges actually poof. They said one of them, you can hear it in the video that you just finished watching, they said one of them, in course of her sleep, that she actually slept and did not wake up. That was what happened. And they said the other one, they heard a noise in the room, and after the noise, they burst the door, because when they actually went to the room, he closed the door and all of that. So they burst the door, and when they burst the door, when they entered, they noticed that he already kicked the bucket and all of that. It's already poof, and that is what is happening. And a lot of Nigerians are saying that is what is happening now. They're saying that the same thing is not happening now. Where on earth are we going in Nigeria? That's the question that we're actually asking. For something to happen and they say that it's not happening, how are we even supposed to know the truth as far as this government of a thing is concerned in Nigeria? That's what a lot of Nigerians are actually saying now. In course of the election, a lot of Nigerians were actually looking towards the fact that the evidences that will be provided against Bola Ahmed Tinubu will actually kick Tinubu out of that presidency, because they believe that Tinubu is an illegitimate president and all of that. That was what a lot of Nigerians were saying, even till now. So Nigerians are still even saying that Tinubu is not their president and all of that, because they believe that Tinubu actually rigged his way to power. They believe that Tinubu paid INEC, they believe that Tinubu paid the judiciary, they believe that Tinubu paid the security operatives and all of that. They believe that it is the money of Tinubu that actually walked him into that presidency. Now, a lot of Nigerians were thinking then that the judiciary will actually work, because Obi actually give them the hope and the assurance that the judiciary will work, because he believed that the judiciary have worked for him when he was the former governor of Anambra State, and they impeached him. Now, even when INEC announced the result that Tinubu won the election and they announced Tinubu as the president-elect, then Nigerians said they actually wanted to shut down all INEC offices, they actually wanted to protest and all of that. But Obi said they should not protest, they should not cause any havoc or all of that, that he will take them to court and he will believe that the judiciary will work. And a lot of Nigerians actually rested. Now, they went to court, we saw all the dramas that actually happened in court. Everything went was everything went upside down, even to the extent that Obi himself was being accused in court and all of that, that he's not cautioning the obedience that is coming on media to talk anyhow to the judges, to the political elites and all of that. But at the end of the day, they make the ruling in Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court made the ruling, they affirmed the legitimacy of Tinubu, and a lot of Nigerians ran out of Nigeria at that very moment. Thousands of people left Nigeria just because they know that their hope is dashed, and a lot of people that cannot leave Nigeria, they engaging in pain and poverty at the moment. They can't afford to eat 2 square meals after the legitimacy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as their president. That's what is happening now. A lot of Nigerians came out to the street. They swear for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They carried juju to different T-junction. They carried their native charm. They carried their voodoos. They carried all the things they know they believe in. They began to swear for INEC. They swear for the judges of the Supreme Court, the judges of the tribunal. They swear for all of them. And according to report now, they said the judges are actually puffing. They said the charm of Nigeria, the voodoos of Nigeria, the swear and the curses of Nigeria is actually working fast. That's what a lot of Nigerians are saying. So what do you guys think regarding everything that is ongoing? Just drop a opinion in the comment section of this video, as I'm gonna dedicate time that one for you. And sure follow me on my social media handles on Facebook at LAJUPOG TV, at Line Entertainment, and on Instagram at LAJUPOG. Guess what, guys? See you in my next video. Bye for now.
I see the hot for my body, I say make I yarn you. Religious gossip plenty day for body. Pastor with the line on top, he pastor. For LAJUPOG Watch TV. Pastor with the back, where? Politician with the do pass himself. Corrupt leader, all the while you waiting for church. All as LAJUPOG Watch TV.